What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode with AB Investments. I'm glad to come back yesterday finally, and thank you so much, guys, from the bottom of my heart for all the love you've shown. I'm very, very, very grateful and thankful for all the support. I would have never, ever, ever imagined actually that I would have so many people that I've personally, physically never met support me and become like my second family. Uh, and like it almost feels like we've known each other all for like so many years, for like 20 years or so. Okay, either way, I'm making this video to go ahead and explain further to the family. And Mikey J, you asked this question. It's a very, very good question, and this is a question that could help broaden up or add the missing pieces in the puzzle when you're on the right path, Mikey. The way that you're thinking, I can tell you're in the right path as far as understanding the whole game and how they're playing is on a broader scale. So the question was, if I could go ahead and explain more into how the banks are helping each other out to basically, not just further postpone the AMC thing, but also how are they helping themselves out to make sure that the market does not crash at, at least tomorrow yet, and further, is that gonna how is that gonna connect to the global economy? Is it gonna affect other countries? And here's the answer to this. So first, you got to remember, about a month ago, feel free to go. I would love for each single one of you that is watching this video right now to please go ahead and go into the community tab on my YouTube channel and scroll down to about a month ago in April, like in the beginning of April. It was like toward the end of March, beginning of April. But you'll find it. It's gonna say breaking news. Banks create a coalition between the Federal Reserve and the global central banks like Bank of England, Bank of Canada, Australia, Japan, and even Swiss National Bank. And if you look in that order, and how are they doing? What are they doing in that coalition? This is very important. They're stepping up to each other to make sure that in the wake of all this is what the system wants you to think, that they're always going to give you a reason, but you need to obviously always look past the first reason that is given to you, and obviously reach the real reason that most of the times is never even mentioned, and you have to find it yourself. You have to squeeze that out. So they say that they're doing these swap lines amongst each other to be there for each other, to help each other, because in the wake of all the people are being afraid for liquidity because of what happened with SVB, and obviously the FTX collapse and stuff like that, and all that stuff in that time, they were experiencing, all the banks, just about everywhere, were experiencing massive liquidity crunch or crisis where people are, pulling their money. But see, the funny thing is they leave it at that. Now you have to go through and think like, okay, well, what is it exactly? If the people are pulling their money from here, where are they putting it? Clearly, it's not in crypto, because you see the crypto is where in the levels that it's at. Although they're pumping and dumping crypto, and we'll get to that in a different video. But they're basically using using swap lines to go ahead and make sure that no bank does, one of these major banks, at least for now, does not pull a SVB or a First Bank Republic of San Francisco. And that's their buddies, basically, because it's for global dominance there in economy. Now, here's another thing that you definitely cannot take your eyes off, and you gotta connect the lines to this. Now, as much as you might not want to be politically involved, family, you gotta always remember we live in a world of politics. It is what it is. We here in the U.S. do not like to talk politics. In general, most people don't like to talk politics, and they don't like to talk religion, and that works to somebody's favor, somebody's favor, and that's the thing. you still got to remember that we live in a world of politics. And the real reason here, if you look at the order of the coalition of those banks, Japan, England, Swiss, Europe Central Bank, Federal Reserve, Australia, what does that form to you? That forms the makeup of the G6. And that's when you think about those countries, you're like, oh wow, yes, that's not a coincidence that they're doing that. And here's where we jump onto the next level of the critical thinking, when you know what is the real reason of behind this. The main reason behind of all of this is because it's used as a war tactic against, obviously, in my humble opinion, China and Russia. Why? Because the American dollar is the world's currency, reserve currency. This is what the world and the globe uses in general. And the fact that every time this happens, like where they're taking care of themselves, these banks, particular nations, they're also, in other words, confirming their alliances with each other. This is all guerrilla warfare. This is not the real. Don't think that war, family, is only with a gun and a bomb. No, this is guerrilla warfare, and much more like the guerrilla warfare that happened back in the Fidel Castro days. So, anyways, not to jump into that, but this has everything to do with all these things that are happening besides just the liquidity crunch. It's also to dry up and to make a purpose to be seen to a point that we will get to soon. I humbly think that we will get to really soon. How soon, I don't know. Of course, nobody can tell, but we can always look like project off of reacting to things that happen on a obviously a daily basis. Like, hey, how did I know that we were going to have, after the inflation data release, that we were going to have another bank crunch and obviously another bank default problem before the May 2nd to May 3rd FOMC meeting? Well, we've seen that through reading this. I've seen that through reading the CPI data, through seeing how the rates, as they keep getting hiked, what they cause an effect, and when do they really start hitting. And seeing that, it was not, after you look in that on those things in that order, you'll see that there is no, it was damn near impossible that nothing was not going to break. And in fact, it was easily projected, because again, those community or smaller banks, they're not protected. And as I broke in the last video, the bigger entities are the only entities that are being backed now by the government, or by the feds, in other words. They're the only banks that are getting, hey, okay, you're too big to fail. The whole economy would suffer from you falling. So therefore, here, we'll help you out. Now, is it planned? Are these entities, like these banks, like the JP Morgans and the Wells Fargos and the Citigroups and the Morgan Stanleys, are they like using the system? Are they leeching off of the system because they know their very vulnerable position, and how much they could actually harm the the economy in general? And they exploit the fact that, hey, you know what? We know what we can cause as far as damage and harm, because we let them, and this is where the problem, roots from. We let them extend their roots many years ago, way before the 2008s and the 01s and even the 90s and the 80s. We let them extend their roots way too deep. And now they are technically